News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Now, Round Rock ISD, which my wife and I bought our first car together at Round Rock Nissan. I always mention that. This is not an endorsement of them because they would have to pay me and do a campaign with me. Otherwise, they'll never. Yeah, but we're not in the. At least we get calls from Austin way farther away than that, but because we boom at night, as you know. But we're listened to all over the country, and even from Britain and Australia, we have listeners that check in with me. But my point being is. We got our first car from there. It's kind of a neat little point when we used to live there in Austin. Okay, but Round Rock ISD parents concerned over open concept restrooms in elementary school. This is from the Texas Scorecard, a great conservative outlet covering the whole state of Texas. And what is an open concept restroom? There's no doors. It's just wide open, and there's sinks, and everything else is shared by both boys and girls. And then there is an open left side and an open right side behind where the girls and boys, not even behind, it's right there, it's open. Girls and boys wash together. And then if you... Then there's the last half of the area is divided on the right, but there's no doors, there's nothing, wide open. On the right are stalls for girls, on the left are stalls for boys. So what that means is a boy can wash his hands and pretend like he's washing his hands, or wash his hands and then walk 3 feet over and look through the cracks in the stalls, because there's an inch on each side and below, and see a girl naked with her pants down in elementary school. And now a man who is visiting the school with a visitor's pass, or a man who is a teacher or a teacher's aide or a janitor may walk into that room. It's not even a room. They can walk over there and just go 5 feet over and stare at a little girl naked for a second and get away with it. Maybe if the girl can't tell who it is through a teeny crack that they put their eye up in there. And you can imagine the endless possibilities for grooming, for sexual assault, or for a boy who has a natural curiosity. It's inappropriate and he knows it's wrong, or actually if he's a kindergartner, he doesn't per se. Right from wrong usually is, at least in court, is 8 or above. In the state of Texas might be 12 or above. I don't know off the top of my head, but this is perfect for boys that want to spy and see girls naked, or a girl that wants to spy and see a boy naked, or somebody taking a picture, or God knows. But it's all done for transgenderism and LGBTQIA. People like Tim Walz on the vice presidential ticket have put tampons in for fourth grade boys that are 10 years old in their bathrooms. And the only thing I would do if I was 10, 11, 12, 13, would take every tampon out of every dispenser, strategically. Like just take one and fill it up with a bag and put that out on the playground and light that up on fire and laugh my you-know-what off. Laugh so hard I'd probably whiz my pants on the playground as a 10-year-old boy. That's what that's there for. Other than that, no man menstruates. No man can get pregnant. A woman has a vagina, a boy has a penis. But that's why this is happening here. It will help people rape, groom, violate, and strip a child of their dignity at the hands of a peer or an adult. And let me tell you something. If you think that this crap doesn't happen without this open bathrooms, all you got to do is Google, and my job every day is to read the news, and I check it every day. And let me tell you something. There is a male or a female molesting, including females, molesting, grooming, and or raping our children in our North Texas classrooms regularly. And they get caught. You will see them in our news locally, because I'm the one who tells you about this stuff, and I see patterns because every day I read I have a real privilege, and I mean this with all my heart. I love my job beyond anything. I was sitting this afternoon cramming, slamming, and jamming. Never have enough time, but that's because of the nature of my job. I always feel like I haven't read enough. I haven't read enough physically. I haven't printed out, looked at my notes as much and made my notes. Never, I'm always not ready. And that's just kind of always how life works for me. And it is what it is. But I was sitting there this afternoon and just I had a moment of just beaming and gratefulness that I get to do this job. And it's been my passion since I was in my late teens, or my early 20s, I should say. And I chased after it and I got it. But one of the gifts that this job gives me is getting paid to do this is that I see patterns in our local and national news. And I've seen the patterns in our local, state, national news in like 6 states I've worked at to work my way up to get to this position I'm in now. Okay. So this is regular and you know it. You'll see it in the Dallas Morning News, Star Telegram, or our television stations locally, or WBAP here in the news. And that a man or woman even are molesting or raping children. Not even high school I'm talking about elementary. A woman, yes. There's sick people on all sides. So here's my questions for you. How would you feel about open bathrooms for your child's elementary school? And how worried would you be that an adult could go to the opposite sex's side simply by walking a couple of feet over and potentially assault or molest a child of the opposite sex, or just peer into there, or the same sex, or just peer into there and get off on that, or be in the stall next to him standing with a child who, listen to this, think of this, with a child who doesn't even know what's happening. Think of how many parents don't sit down with their children and talk to them appropriately about what happens and how people can do to you and what you should do in that situation. And I want you to think about an innocent 5-year-old or 6-year-old or 7-year-old, boy or girl, I don't care, 8-year-old, and a man's head above the top of the stall and the kid doesn't even see it and looking down and pleasuring himself or herself, or the kid seeing that and not even thinking, and that begins something. I'm telling you, this is horrifically wrong, and it is made for the LGBTQIA+++ agenda. And I will read the quotes to you from these districts. One of the actual school board members of Round Rock ISD where this is happening, which is only like 2 hours and 45 minutes to the south of us, by way of 35. To me, this bathroom concept represents I'm quoting Dr. Mary Bone, a member of the Round Rock ISD School Board. To me, this bathroom concept represents the progression of the left agenda to blur the lines between biological boys and girls. This also represents why parents and grandparents must oversee the local school boards and their administration, she says. So one of the board members openly says that. Another mom says, my child has already stated she will not be using these bathrooms. One of the parents, Laura Morin, a Brushy Creek Elementary School parent in Round Rock ISD, she stated that she will plan her bathroom breaks around lunch. Her daughter says this. My child has already said she will not be using these bathrooms. She stated she will plan her bathroom breaks around lunch and PE when she's back inside the old school building and can use more private bathrooms. And I believe that. Because, and then here's another quotation from the local Moms for Liberty chapter. Why RRISD did not consult the community prior to the design and build of this open concept restroom? Why? We're wondering this. Round Rock ISD prides itself on being innovative and inclusive at the expense of the majority of children and families. Parents also concerned, the Texas scorecard says, that the bathroom layout would introduce gender ideology in school through the lack of boundaries between male and female students at an age when they are starting puberty. That's what they want. This is what the left wants. They want to take you from your child and raise your child and teach them that that God made them wrongly, and that they should really consider experimenting with homosexuality. And I'm not here condemning people. I'm not. But I'm telling you, the left wants to encourage your child to experiment with something they may not even have any interest in ever. But they want to make it so that your son, something's wrong with your son if they aren't this way. And what this leads to do is, specifically with transgenderism, or pretending or wanting to be gay because you're idolized or adulated or put on a pedestal, which is how things have become with the left in this country. that what this is the trends. All you got to do is Google the contagion effect of. Don't Google because they're leftists. Use DuckDuckGo. It's a little bit better, unless rigged. All you got to do is search online at DuckDuckGo, for example, and you go to and you just look at the contagion effect with the social effect with when one student is transgender or gay, how you will find entire much larger group of girls that come out and say they are gay or that they are trans, or vice versa. And if you support that agenda, what you got to realize is I wouldn't want people, if I supported that agenda, I was one of the community, I would not want other people acting like they're that way and thinking it's cool and then pretending. That's offensive. I mean, it'd be like somebody pretending they're black or somebody pretending they're gay and they're not, and stuff. You want people to be who they are. And also, when kids take medications for puberty blockers, there are lifelong effects that are deleterious to their health. Bone density and bone growth, hormones, and many other things. And when children have surgeries, they may never get their breast back. They will never get their penis back or their gonads back. This leads to dark places. Adults need to make those decisions, and these things happen at a much earlier age and are contagion when the child ends up regretting what they did as an adult, and they are mad as hell at their parents, and then they're also mad at themselves, and then that leads to dark thoughts about self-harm if they never wanted to do it. If they, as an adult, they don't like it, they don't want to do it. How do I say this? One of my examples is 6 different people that transitioned, and then all were saying things like this on 60 Minutes with Leslie Stahl a couple of years ago. It's there. We talked about it. I played the audio from it that night. One of the guys said, I followed everything they told me to do. I went to a psychiatrist on campus at college. I did everything he told. I read every page of that book. And then I took the medications, I took the procedures, and I want to kill myself more after I did that because it didn't work. And I believe that's the man downstairs, not upstairs, laughing at you even more because he got you to do that to yourself, and now you're screwed. That's what I believe. Okay? Your thoughts on this, 800-288-WBAP. That was my oral dissertation. 800-288-9227. How do you feel about open bathrooms for your child's elementary school? How worried would you be that an adult would go into the opposite side's sex and potentially assault or molest or pleasure themselves to looking at your child naked? 800-288-WBAP. Also coming up next, Unleash Prosperity tells you, you're not going to believe how many tens of thousands of dollars the Biden-Harris, just regulations, not their inflation, regulations have cost the average family in America. They lay it out, and it's really, really scary and bad. That is next at 2021 after the hour on Chris Kroc Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Chris Kroc Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I want to talk about Kamala's policies, which not the ones we talked about earlier, which is unbelievable, and it's incredible. It's an incredible gift from her, what she did today. But I want to talk about the regulations that she and Biden thrust on us, and I want to talk about the Kamalanomics, and how much she has cost us under her administration with Joe Biden, that she proudly boasts about her what she did and all that she's done for us with her and Joe at the helm. And in fact, I want to do something that is unique. First of all, this was spurred on by the story today from the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. And who is this? Steve Forbes. Obviously know who Steve Forbes is from Forbes magazine. And he was a presidential candidate previously. He's an economist and a businessman. Art B. Laffer, who was a member of President Reagan's Economic Policy Board for all 8 years. He also was an economic advisor to Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. He's a faculty member. He's been faculty member at University of Chicago, USC, and Pepperdine, which are all prestigious universities. And Steve Moore, who's been a guest on the show several times, who formerly wrote on the economy and public policy for the Wall Street Journal and was a senior economist under Dick Armey, his joint economic committee. So, and here's what they write in their paper that came out today. Biden-Harris regulations cost the average family almost $50,000. This is not inflation. This is their regulations. $47,000 in net present value regulatory costs per household from rules finalized during the Kamala Biden term. It's almost twice the cost imposed during Obama's first term. Almost twice of what Obama put in for regulations in the first 4 years. The $47,000 net present value corresponds to an annual cost of $6,300 for 10 years, or an annual cost of $3,300 forever. Take your pick. And guess who pays the most and who this punishes the most? The lowest income quintile, the lowest of the low, are paying 7 times what they are for the top quintile, the most wealthy people. The single greatest new regulatory cost comes from the rule to ensure that the majority of new passenger cars and light trucks sold in the U.S. are all electric or hybrids, which Kamala sponsored all this and pushed it all in the new Green Deal as a senator and everything and fought for it by 2032. The various Biden-Harris and Obama-Biden emission rules are expected to increase the price of a new car, SUV, or pickup by more than $6,000. Thank you, Kamala. We love your policies. They still account for only 1/3 of the total regulatory cost, though. Cars, only 1/3 of the cost. Even less for the Biden-Harris administration. They cost even less. Collectively, health regulations, labor, and telecommunications and consumer finance regulations impose the costs that exceed all of those with automobiles. So then there's inflation, and I did the numbers from my home today, and it was a pain in the butt. It took me like 20 minutes. I'm not kidding you, because here's what I did. And I didn't do every category. I just did gasoline, for my car, home energy prices, for my energy bill for my house, my car insurance, my grocery prices, and my car repairs. I did not include homeowners insurance, which is also skyrocketed tremendously, okay? And I'm going to tell you what I came up with for monthly costs. And then I'm going to tell you what I Googled, what the average cost of Biden and Kamala have cost us in 2023, according to CNN, what the average cost was put on our backs from Kamala-nomics and Kamala-inflation. And then I'm going to tell you what it turned into for this year with the data that I got from the CNN, the Car Insurance Committee, and the Daily Caller. Coming up next, and we're going to hear from you. My questions are, I'll tell you right now, Kamala and Joe have put an extra $15,800 per year on the average cost for a family. $15,800 per year. And I'll go over that with you next. Okay. But I'll give you the numbers. It's insane, and it's true. So you have the almost $50,000 they put on you from regulations, and then I have $15,800 per year for a family of 4. That's the average. Okay, that is next. Your call is next. I want you to chime in right now, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227, and that is, what would you estimate Bidenomics and Kamalanomics have cost you every month, each month? Insurance, groceries, gas, auto repair, energy costs at home. How do these costs, extra costs, make you feel? How do they affect your vote? 800-288-WBAP, your call at 9:33, and I'll give you my personal numbers at 9:33 as well. The inflation from Kamala and Biden. Kamalanomics. I just shared with you in depth on how there's $47,000 The Biden-Harris regulations that they introduced in the past 4 years have put $47,000 on the average family. Now, I did the math, and I looked up, and I spent 20 minutes or so going through this and doing the math and all that stuff for me personally. And then I also have the average numbers from CNN, Daily Caller, and the car insurance. No, it's actually not the Car Insurance Commission. It's carinsurance.com. In 2023, Kamala and Biden put $11,400 a month on our backs from their inflation. That's CNN. And then inflation went up this year, as you know, it's up 3.9%. And so that would mean 11,400 from CNN last year is now $15,800. And the funny thing is, I did the math personally in my family of four. And this is pretty amazing to me. For my family of four, it's $214, and I want to hear from you. And if you don't have all the numbers, just do your best to guesstimate, okay? And I'm asking you two questions. What would you estimate Bidenomics and Kamalanomics cost you every month? Insurance. And the numbers I'm pretty much asking you for are car insurance, groceries, gas prices, auto repair, and energy costs at home. 800, and then the other thing is, how do these extra costs that Biden and Kamala have put on your back make you feel? And how do they affect your vote? 800-288-WBAP is our number. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. And I mean right now. 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. We got 6 minutes to take your call. So get on and jump on with us and talk. Here for me, monthly, it's $214 a month in gas. And my home energy, and this is going to be low sounding to you, and I'm sure I'm off, but I'm doing my best. This is going to be low, I think. But for me, $60 a month on average is my guesstimation for my home energy costs, heating and cooling, right? And electricity prices in general, because it's not just heating and cooling. So I'm guessing around $60 a month. It's probably more, though, because gas is actually another $20 a month lately. So actually, it's probably $80 a month. So it's going to be higher than this, but that's okay. $214 a month in gas, $60 in home energy, $210 a month in car insurance. And if you think that's exaggerated, no, because my car insurance in this country under Kamala and Joe, that just last 1 year from last year, it went up 22% this year from last year. So that means if you're paying $1,000 a year for your car insurance, you're now paying $1,222 for that same car policy that was $1,000 last year. And that one from last year that was $1,000 was probably $850 the year before, and then the year before that it was probably $700. It was probably $650 or less when Trump was in office. That's what Joe Biden and Kamala with Bidenomics and Kamalanomics have done. And I want to remind you that she is personally responsible for putting injecting $2.3 trillion into our economy, causing inflation, because she cast the tying vote on two votes that literally did. One was $500 billion. The other one was the one was $500 billion, excuse me, and the other one was $1.8 trillion. If you just those two things that she personally came in and tied the vote in the Senate to pass it, and of course Biden signed it. So $214 a month for gas, $60 a month for home. It's probably $80, but I'll just leave it at $60. $210 a month for car insurance under Kamala and Joe in 4 years, and $600 a month in groceries. I do the budget, and I know that for a fact. It's at least $300 every 2 weeks more than it was. And $166 a month extra for car repair, at least. And I have the same mechanic I've had for 14 years, and trust me, he has to charge a lot more, and I know that. And he explains why. So that's a $1,250 a month on my back that Joe and Kamala have personally put on my back. That is $15,000 a year. and the average national is actually 15.8. So I'm probably at 15.8 to be honest. But that blew me away, and I'm being serious because I did the math and then I looked it up writ large for all of us, and I'm like, holy crap! I was $800 away from what the average national is. So I mean, I'm right, and that's pretty profound to me. So you tell me. What do you estimate Bidenomics and Kamalanomics has cost you every month? Like, what are you paying extra in gas, home energy, car insurance, groceries, and car repair? And just do it in your mind and do your best guess on that if you want to agree. Maybe you think $1,250 a month sounds right. Maybe you think $15,000 or $15,800 actually is what the average national is anyways. Maybe you think that's actually right. And if it is $15,800, then that comes out to be almost $1,300 a month, which really does make sense to me. Really does. 800-288-9227 is our number. 800-288-WBAP. What do you estimate Bidenomics and Kamalanomics cost you every month? How do these extra costs make you feel, and how do they affect your vote? All right. Also, I want to enter into another discussion because this is huge. I have told you for several weeks since Kamala has been the nominee that this woman is a prosecutor in San Francisco, and as the attorney general, the top cop of the entire state of California, that she locked up 1,500 black men for marijuana and put them in jail for marijuana charges. And then she laughed about doing marijuana when she was asked in a live interview on the radio when she was running for president in 2020. She laughed about, yes, I did smoke marijuana. Yes, I did inhale. And she laughed. Wasn't funny for 1,500 black men that she put in jail for the same thing. She can do it. They can't. They're black men. She puts them in jail. That's where she thinks they belong. At least when she was running the office of the district attorney for San Francisco, and then of the top cops attorney general for California. She also refused to introduce evidence for a man that was on death row that would have freed him until she was forced by the state court to introduce it, and then he was freed. I have a black man who's an actor, and he was put into jail with false evidence on murder that she put him in jail for in the projects when he was growing up. He's black. That's what she does to them, the black men. I'll read this guy's words yourself. And I'll read you the stats on the 1,500 men, and I'll read you about the story from publications from big time news outlets on another one too, on not only on the ones I've mentioned, but also on keeping state prisoners in jail longer so that she can get cheap labor for the state of California. And I will also mention another one. There's so many of them, and it's amazing what she did to so many people's lives. It's profound. And so she's bragging about this now. Oh, you're a convicted felon, Trump. By the way, that'll be overturned in January, and the world knows it after it's too late for the election, but that's okay. We'll still win. But it's amazing to hear this. And so I will be asking you this, and you can chime in now if you want. What does Kamala's record as a prosecutor say to you? What does her record as a prosecutor say to you? Forced to release a man from death row after the state forced her to share evidence she withheld. Kept prisoners in jail longer to work for cheaper wages. Put over it's not 1,500 black men, over 1,500 black men in jail for marijuana violations, and laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked. And then she put a black actor, a man who was wrongfully convicted by her because he's black and from the projects. And then he says also he's going to reveal the sickening taunt. She made a sickening taunt to him after he was found guilty. An innocent black man. She made a sickening taunt. Isn't that vile? Isn't that what they think Orange Man is and does? Isn't that what they think white people in the Justice Department or in the local, they meaning the radical leftists, you know what I mean, and the BLM activists, isn't that who they say is systemic racism? Isn't that her, based on what I'm just telling you? And I'll read you the statistics and the facts from news outlets and their stories. I dug it all up this afternoon, And behold, this is your woman. You want to put black men in jail? Keep people in jail that on death row that don't belong on death row? You want to throw innocent men that are black in jail? She's your woman. Okay? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Chris Crocker, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3. Let's do the all the stuff that Kamala has done to innocent people and convicted men and black men. It's horrific. Just today in the Daily Mail, because this is going to start coming a lot more. This from the Daily Mail. California man who was wrongfully convicted by Kamala Harris reveals her sickening taunt when he was found guilty. He was sentenced, Jamal Truelove, he's an actor. He was sentenced to 50 years in prison after he was framed by cops for the 2007 shooting of his friend, Seu Kuka. At the time, Harris was the DA for San Fran and was responsible for securing the conviction. So she made sure a framed black man goes to prison for murder. This is, and she literally taunted him after she got him convicted, wrongfully convicted. She loved it. She had bloodlust for this black man, put him in jail. He told the Art of Dialogue talk shows when he was on as a guest that he'd been unable to shake her cruel taunt from his mind. We locked eyes one time, and she laughed. She literally just kind of like busted out laughing, almost as if she was pointing like, ha. She didn't point, but that's how it felt. Here's what he said. If you're wondering if I'll be voting for Kamala, laugh and lie, Harris, F no, he said. He was acquitted only 9 years ago on a retrial. Can you imagine that? 3 years after he was exonerated, so that'd be 2018, he sued the police department and 4 officers saying they fabricated evidence, coerced a key witness, and withheld vital information that may have exonerated him. He was awarded $14.5 million for Kamala's wrongful conviction, and she taunted him and laughed at him. That's who she is. She's a vile vampire mocking an innocent black man as she throws him in jail for life. He accepted the $13.1 million offer in exchange for the city dropping its appeal, and the jury cleared 2 other officers of wrongdoing. But Kamala, she had bloodlust. She loves this. Black man go to jail? Sign me up. No officers were disciplined for their roles in this case because 4 other officers named in this retired. The people in the projects where he was knew who Kamala was because she was a black DA, and we thought we had a black district attorney in office, and that was from Oakland. We would think that she would be a little more favorable to us. His friend was shot to death in San Fran housing project. So this is perfect. You send a black man from the housing projects to jail for murder that he didn't commit. Here's another one. Kamala Harris is this from Newsweek. Her record as a prosecutor comes under scrutiny. Here's the Kevin Cooper case. That's one you can look up here. And here's what happened with her. Her law office litigated aggressively against a man, allowing evidence to be considered in federal litigation to stay his execution date. Details are Friday, but I'm going to refresh and bring everybody the story. This campaign to exonerate this man was a major boost to a lengthy investigation by the New York Times. Okay? And an innocent man framed by sheriff's deputies on death row, in part because of dishonest cops, sensational media coverage, and flawed political leaders, including Democrats like Kamala Harris. This was in the freaking New York Times, y'all. So she sent an innocent man who the U.S. Senator Kamala refused to allow newly available DNA evidence to set this man from death row free. She wanted black men to die. Kill that black man. And he turns, because she wouldn't let him do DNA. And so she was forced to allow it. And that black man, instead of being killed at the hands of Kamala, was freed. That's freaking amazing. I'm not even done. That's just 2 little ones. The thousands of black men she put in jail for marijuana. That's next. Here's my question. How do what does Kamala's record as a prosecutor say to you? What does her record as a prosecutor say to you? Trump needs to get these black men that she railroaded and the man, and get them on camera for commercials. They can just talk. She put me in jail wrongfully and was going to put me to death. I lived in fear for 20 years, illegally held at jail. The actor that I just mentioned to you, he needs to do a 10-second. You can have each one of them tell a 10-second story clip. Boom, boom. That's who she is, and she's boasting. Then she'll crawl back like a crab and be afraid. That's why she looks so uncomfortable today. She's uncomfortable with what she's doing, and that's quoting Greg Gutfeld in a brilliant discussion on The Five this afternoon on Fox. I got more for what she's done, keeping inmates locked up for cheap labor and putting black men in jail, thousands of them for marijuana. All that next. Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. That's at 10:03. Chime in right now. We'll get you on 10:03, 800-288 WBAP.